Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. And today we'll be discussing the NCERT exercises for the chapter Human Reproduction. So this is the part 1 of the lecture. So we will discuss some of the exercises in this lecture, and we'll try to complete all the exercises in this lecture, and some of the questions we will complete in the next session. So before starting these lectures, I want to give you one information that the images, text and other materials used in our presentations are for education purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners. If you are the owner and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@itk.ac.in and we shall remove the content immediately. Please note that parts of the content may have been generated using generative AI, which is experimental. So what are the objective of today's session? So we will explore and understand the fundamental concepts of human reproduction by working through the NCERT exercise questions. So these questions, they are based on some concepts. So we will discuss these concepts, we will understand these concepts by discussing the NCERT exercises. Okay, we'll be talking about the NCERT exercises from the chapter Human Reproduction. So let's begin with the first question here, which is fill in the blanks. Okay, so what is the first fill in the blank here? Human reproduce asexually or sexually. Okay, so they are asking about the human reproduction. So reproduction is of two types, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. So what will be the answer for this question? So let's have a look at the answer. So human reproduce sexually. So this is the correct answer here. In humans, sexual reproduction occurs. Now what are the features of sexual reproduction? Here two individuals are involved, or two parents are involved. One is male, another one is the female. So male and female will produce male and female gametes. These gametes will fuse with each other to form the zygote. Zygote will form the embryo, and from the embryo entire organisms will develop. Okay, so, and what else happening in the sexual reproduction? Gametes are formed through meiosis. And there is combination of the genetic material of the male and the female. So zygote, in zygote what happens? Half of the chromosome is coming from male, half of the chromosomes they are coming from the female. Okay, so humans reproduce sexually. Now next fill in the blank is humans are oviparous, viviparous or ovoviviparous. So what will be the correct answer for this question? So let's have a look at the answer now. So humans are viviparous. So what do you mean by viviparous? Means humans give birth to the young ones. This is viviparous organisms. Okay. Then next one, fertilization is dash in humans, external or internal. So there are two types of fertilization, external and internal. So in humans fertilization is. So what will be the answer? Okay, so answer here is fertilization is internal. This is the correct answer. What do you mean by internal fertilization? Means the fusion of the male and the female gamete. Or you can say, in other words, the fertilization of the egg occurs in the female reproductive system. In humans, Fertilization occurs where? In the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. So this is internal. This is happening inside the body of the female. What happens in external reproduction? In external reproduction, what happens? The male and the female gamete, they are released in the water. And the fertilization is taking place externally outside the body in the water. So this is the difference between external and internal fertilization. Now next one, male and female gametes are, they are diploid or haploid? What will be the answer? Let's have a look at the answer now. So gametes, they are always haploid. Haploid means they will have n number of chromosomes. They will have half the number of chromosomes as compared to the diploid cells. So diploids have 2n number of chromosomes, haploids have n number of chromosomes. Haploid cells have only one set of chromosome. In humans, gametes will have only 23 chromosomes. Now zygote is diploid or haploid? What will be the correct answer? So let's have a look at the answer now. So zygote is a diploid structure. What do you mean by diploid? Means it has 2n number of chromosomes. In humans, the zygote will have 46 chromosomes. Okay, means in zygote 23 chromosomes are coming from the male and 23 chromosomes are coming from the female. So zygote will have 46 chromosomes. And zygote is formed by fusion of the male and the female gametes. Both the gametes have 23 number of chromosomes. So zygote will have 46 chromosomes. It is a diploid structure. The next one, process of release of ovum from a mature follicle is called. So they are asking you about the process of release of the egg from the mature follicle. Remember, mature follicle is also known as the Graafian follicle. You have to tell the name of that process. So what will be the answer for this question? Let's have a look at the answer now. So answer will be ovulation. The process of release of ovum from a mature follicle, this is called ovulation. Or simply, ovulation is release of the egg, which occurs in the mid of the menstrual cycle. And what stimulates the release of this ovum from the mature follicle? So this is a hormone known as the luteinizing hormone. So luteinizing hormone, which is released from the anterior pituitary, this hormone triggers the rupture of the Graafian follicle and it causes the release of the egg from this follicle. The next one, ovulation is induced by a hormone called. So you have to name the hormone which causes ovulation. So what will be the answer? Let's have a look at the answer now. So ovulation is induced by a hormone called as the luteinizing hormone, also known as the LH. So there is an LH surge, means there is a rapid secretion of the LH. Okay. And this LH triggers the release of the egg or secondary oocyte from the Graafian follicle. It causes the rupture of the Graafian follicle. Fusion of male and female gametes is called. Okay, you have to name the process of fusion of the male and the female gametes. This is called what? So let's have a look at the answer. The fusion of the male and the female is called fertilization. Okay, what is the site of fertilization? So site of fertilization is the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. So egg is already present in the ampulla. Okay, egg is released by the ovaries. Then it is captured by the fimbriae, which are finger-like projections which are present on the infundibulum region of the fallopian tube. Then the egg reaches the ampullary region, which is the wider part of the fallopian tube. And the sperms, they also travel, they can swim. So sperms, they are released in the vagina. Then sperm, they travel through the cervix. Then they enter into uterus, and from the uterus, the sperms finally reach the ampullary region of the fallopian tube, where the fertilization occurs. Okay, so answer is fertilization here. Now again, this is a very straightforward question. If fertilization takes place in, they're asking you about the site of the fertilization. So what will be the correct answer here? So let's have a look at the answer now. Fertilization takes place in the ampulla of the oviduct. Oviduct is also known as the fallopian tube. Okay, so we have already discussed the egg which is released from the ovary. It will travel and it will reach the ampulla region. The sperms will also travel and it will reach the ampulla region. So it is very important that for fertilization, both the egg and the sperms, they should reach the ampulla region of the fallopian tube where the fertilization occurs. Then the zygote is formed and then zygote travels. Okay, where does zygote travel? So zygote will travel towards the uterus. Okay, and finally the implantation of the blastocyst will occur in the uterine wall. The next one, zygote divides to form dash which is implanted in the uterus. So they're asking what is happening after the zygote is formed. So in zygote, mitotic divisions occur. Repeated mitotic divisions occur. And a structure is formed. This structure is implanted in the uterus. You have to name that structure which is formed by mitotic divisions in the zygote. So what will be the correct answer here? Let's have a look at the answer now. So zygote divides to form a blastocyst which is implanted in the uterus. Okay, so what happens when the zygote is formed? In zygote, repeated mitotic divisions occur, and this repeated mitotic divisions is known as the cleavage. Okay, now because of this cleavage or repeated mitotic divisions, the daughter cells are formed which is known as the blastomeres. Okay, now the embryo containing 8 to 16 blastomeres, this is known as morula. So from the zygote, morula is formed. And morula finally transformed into blastocyst. This blastocyst gets attached to the endometrium. So blastocyst is a structure which is implanted in the uterus. Now what is implantation? Attachment of the blastocyst to the endometrium, which is the innermost wall of the uterus. And how the blastocyst attaches to the endometrium, so you should know this also. So blastocyst, okay, have a trophoblast. And what is trophoblast? The blastomeres which are present in the blastocyst, they arrange in the outermost layer and they form the trophoblast, and some of the blastomeres, they form the inner cell mass. So with the help of trophoblast, the blastocyst is attached to the endometrium. And inner cell mass finally differentiates into the embryo. The next one, the structure which provides vascular connection between fetus and the uterus is called. So you have to name that structure which provides the vascular connection between the fetus, or you can say the embryo, and the uterus. What is the name of that structure? Let's have a look at the answer now. So the correct answer is placenta. Structure which provides a vascular connection between fetus and uterus is called placenta. So what is the role of placenta? So placenta, or why the placenta is formed? So placenta provides oxygen, it supplies nutrients to the developing embryo. Because this embryo is living, it requires nutrients for its growth, it requires oxygen for doing the metabolic activities. Then because of these metabolic activities, carbon dioxide is produced and a lot of nitrogenous waste are also produced. So this have to be removed from the embryo. So placenta plays a role in this. Then placenta acts as a protective barrier. It doesn't allow the pathogens to pass, okay, and reach the embryo. Then placenta acts as an endocrine tissue. It secretes or it produces hormones also. Okay. Clear? And placenta is made up of two kinds of tissue, fetal tissue and maternal tissue. Now draw a label diagram of male reproductive system. Okay, you have to draw a well-labeled diagram of the male reproductive system. So let's have a look at the answer now. So this is the label diagram of the male reproductive system. Here the male reproductive system consists of what? So first of all, male reproductive system consists of 4 components. First one is the primary sex organ. Okay, primary sex organ in males, this is testes. And there is a pair of testes. So you can see there are 2 testes here which are present within the scrotum. Now you can write the role of the scrotum also. Why testes are present in scrotum? Because in testes the temperature is 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius less than the normal body temperature, which helps in the sperm production. Okay, so testes is the primary sex organ, means it is involved in sperm production also, and testes also produces some hormones also, male hormones known as the androgens, for example testosterone. Then the male reproductive system also consists of accessory ducts. So these are the accessory ducts: rete testes, vas efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens. Now what is the function of accessory ducts? So they help in the storage, maturation and transport of the sperms. And maturation of the sperm occurs in the epididymis. Then male reproductive system consists of accessory glands. So these are the accessory glands: seminal vesicle, prostate and the bulbourethral gland. Secretion of these glands, accessory glands, is known as the seminal plasma, which is the major component of the semen. Okay. And there is a external genitalia known as the penis. So penis, this is a copulatory organ, and penis is made up of special kind of tissues which help in the erection of the penis, and erection of the penis is very important for the process of insemination. Then you can show glans penis here, which is the head of the penis, and this is the foreskin. Okay, so this is the well labeled diagram of the male reproductive system. So you should draw this because it is showing you the accessory ducts also, accessory glands also, primary sex organ also, as well as the external genitalia as well. Then these are the rest, the male reproductive system, you can say it is also associated with the excretory system. So urinary bladder, ureter, these are the part of the excretory system. Ureters, they come from the kidney. So there are two kidneys, so there will be two ureters, one coming out from each kidney. Okay. Now next question, draw a label diagram of female reproductive system. So let's have a look at the answer now. The diagram of female reproductive system is as follows. So this is the diagram that you should draw for the female reproductive system. So here what you will show, again you will show the primary sex organ, which are the ovaries. So there are two ovaries. Okay. And ovary is a primary sex organ, means it will within the ovaries eggs are also produced, female gamete, which is the female gamete, and ovaries also produce the hormones, ovarian hormones. What are ovarian hormones? Estrogen as well as the progesterone. Then you can show the accessory ducts here, which is fallopian tube, uterus, okay, cervix. You can show the different parts of the fallopian tube. So the region of the fallopian tube which is near to the ovaries, this is known as the infundibulum. Okay, from infundibulum, finger-like projections appear, which is known as the fimbriae. This fimbriae help in the collection of the egg which is released from the ovary. Then the egg will be collected by the fimbriae of the infundibulum. Then egg will travel and it will reach the ampullary region. So this ampullary region is a wider region. Infundibulum, this is a funnel shaped region, and infundibulum leads to this ampulla, which is a wider part of the fallopian tube. Then ampulla leads to this isthmus, which has a narrow lumen. Then isthmus finally leads to the uterus. You can see this is the uterine cavity. Then you can label the uterus wall layers also. So uterine wall has 3 layers. Okay, outermost is the perimetrium, innermost is the myometrium, and the innermost is the endometrium. Now perimetrium, this is membranous. Myometrium, this is made up of smooth muscles in which contractions occurs, which leads to childbirth or delivery of the fetus. Then endometrium, this is the innermost layer of the uterus, and endometrium undergoes cycling changes during the menstrual cycle. Clear? Then you can label the cervix also, cervical canal and the vagina. This you can see here, vagina and the cervical canal, they together form the birth canal. So this is a well-labeled diagram of the female reproductive system. Now, next question, write 2 major functions each of testes and the ovaries. They're asking you about the function of testes and ovaries. So what will be the answer here? So let's have a look at the answer. 2 major functions of testes and ovaries are as follows. First of all, function of the testes. Production of sperm cells known as spermatogenesis. Now the testes produces male reproductive cells known as spermatozoa through the process of spermatogenesis in the seminiferous tubules. So within the testes, testicular lobules are present. Okay, so there are around 250 testicular lobules, and in each lobule 3 to 4 highly coiled seminiferous tubules are present. Within these seminiferous tubules, the sperm production occurs. So seminiferous tubule is the site of spermatogenesis. Okay. So testes produce male reproductive cell known as the spermatozoa or the sperm through the process of spermatogenesis, which occurs in the seminiferous tubule. So sperm formation occurs in the seminiferous tubule. Okay. Another role is production of the testosterone, which is the male sex hormone. And testosterone is produced by which cells? They are produced by the Leydig cells. So Leydig cells, also known as interstitial cells, they produce testosterone in the testes. And testosterone is responsible for development of male secondary sexual characteristic and for maintaining reproductive function as well. These are the major function of testes: sperm production and production of the testosterone. Now ovaries function. What are the function of ovaries? Production of the ovum or the egg. This is known as oogenesis. Now these ovaries, they produce the ovum or the female gamete. They produce the female reproductive cells known as ova or eggs through the process of oogenesis. Another role will be the production of the hormones. So next function is the production of female sex hormones. Now, the ovaries produce estrogen and progesterone, which regulate the menstrual cycle, supports pregnancy, and maintain female secondary sexual characteristics. Clear? So both testes and ovaries, they are the primary sex organs. Role of primary sex organ is the production of gametes and production of hormones. Now let's discuss the structure of the seminiferous tubule. You know, seminiferous tubule is the site of the fertilization. Okay, it is the site of spermatogenesis, means sperm formation. So let's have a look at the answer now. Structure of seminiferous tubule is listed below. Now, seminiferous tubules are highly coiled structures and are found in the testicular lobules. So seminiferous tubules, first of all, they are very highly coiled structures. So you have to write this. They are found in the testicular lobules. Another thing. And in seminiferous tubules, sperm production occurs. Now, on the inner side of the seminiferous tubules, male germ cells are present, known as the spermatogonia, and Sertoli cells are also present. Okay, and then towards the outer side of the seminiferous tubule, in the interstitial spaces, interstitial cells, also known as the Leydig cells, are present. Okay, so on the inner side, two kinds of cells are present. On the inside of the seminiferous tubules, two kinds of cells are present: Sertoli cells and the spermatogonia, also known as the male germ cells. In this spermatogonia, which are diploid cells, meiosis occurs to form the sperms. Sperms will be haploid. The Sertoli cells, they provide nourishment to the spermatogonia. Okay, spermatogonia, they are the male germ cells that undergo mitotic divisions to produce primary spermatocytes. Okay, so spermatogonia, they are diploid cells. They differentiate to form primary spermatocytes. So primary spermatocytes, they are also diploid. Then what happens? These primary spermatocytes undergo meiotic divisions. Okay, meiosis 1 occurs in primary spermatocytes. Okay, and after meiosis 1, secondary spermatocytes are produced. Okay, And then again in secondary spermatocyte, meiosis II occurs and 4 spermatids are formed. 4 haploid spermatids are formed, and these spermatids, they transform into spermatozoa, also known as the sperm. Sertoli cells, also known as the nurse cells of the testes. Why they are known as the nurse cells? Because they provide nourishment to the germ cells. Now, just adjacent to the seminiferous tubules, there are large polygonal cells referred to as the Leydig cells, also known as the interstitial cells. These Leydig cells secrete testosterone. Remember that this is the function of the Leydig cell. They secrete testosterone, which is the male hormone. Testosterone is involved in initiation of the spermatogenesis, means sperm formation. So here you can see, you can draw this diagram for the seminiferous tubules. So this is the section of the seminiferous tubule. Within this seminiferous tubule, on the inside of the seminiferous tubule, you can see spermatogonium, which are diploid. You can see Sertoli cells. Then spermatogonia. Some of the spermatogonia differentiate to form primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte undergo meiosis I to produce secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis II to form spermatid. And spermatid finally transform into spermatozoa by the process known as spermiogenesis. Now next one, what is spermatogenesis? And you have to briefly describe the process of spermatogenesis. So let's have a look at the answer for this question. Now these phenomena of sperm production from the immature germ cells, means from the spermatogonia, this is known as spermatogenesis. It occurs in the males. Now spermatogenesis occurs in the seminiferous tubules, and the seminiferous tubules are located inside the testes. Now in this process, a diploid male germ cells or spermatogonium enlarge in size to form the diploid primary spermatocyte, which in turn goes through the first meiotic division or meiosis I. So this we have already discussed. Spermatogonia. Some of the spermatogonia differentiate to form primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte will also be diploid. These primary spermatocytes, they undergo meiosis I to form secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis II to form 4 haploid spermatids, and from the spermatids, spermatozoa are produced. Okay. So meiosis I, this is reductional division. So from diploid primary spermatocytes, haploid secondary spermatocytes will be produced. Okay, and from one primary spermatocytes, 2 haploid secondary spermatocytes are produced. So this was the primary spermatocyte. From one primary spermatocytes, 2 haploid secondary spermatocytes are produced. So this was meiosis I, in which the reduction of chromosomes occur. Then these are the secondary spermatocytes. The secondary spermatocytes will undergo meiosis II. So one cell will form 2. So there will be 4 spermatids now in the end. So at the end of meiosis, 4 spermatids will be produced, which are haploid. Okay, so secondary spermatocytes are formed. Now each of the secondary spermatocytes, they will undergo second meiotic division or meiosis II to form spermatids. So from one secondary spermatocyte, 2 spermatids will be formed. So there were 2 secondary spermatocytes, so 4 spermatids will be formed. You can also say from one primary spermatocytes, 4 spermatids are produced. Okay, remember, from one primary spermatocyte, 4 spermatids are produced. And from one secondary spermatocyte, 2 spermatids are produced. But there are 2 secondary spermatocytes, so in total 4 spermatids are produced, which are haploid. Here you can see the divisions are equal. Equal means two similar kinds of cells are being produced. They are of same size. Okay, same size, or you can say the components of the parent cell, they are equally divided into the daughter cells. So in the end, 4 haploid spermatids are formed from a single spermatogonium. So from one spermatogonium, 4 haploid spermatids are being produced. Spermatids hence produced, they transform to form spermatozoa, which is also known as sperms. And this transformation, this is known as spermiogenesis. So transformation of spermatid into spermatozoa, this is known as spermiogenesis, and then spermiation occurs, where the mature spermatozoa, they are released from the seminiferous tubules. Now you have to name the hormones involved in regulation of the spermatogenesis. Okay, means hormones which are involved in regulation of sperm production in the testes. So what will be the answer? Now let's have a look at the answer now. So 4 hormones involved in the regulation of spermatogenesis are listed below. So what are these 4 hormones? First one is the gonadotrophic releasing hormone. Okay, it is a hypothalamic hormone, means it is released from the hypothalamus. Okay, and this hormone is released at puberty. So spermatogenesis starts at the puberty. This hormone, gonadotrophic releasing hormone, which is released from hypothalamus, acts on the anterior pituitary gland, and it stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to release 2 gonadotrophins, which are luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Okay, now these 2 hormones have been released from anterior pituitary. Now what is the function of luteinizing hormone? Luteinizing hormone then triggers the Leydig cells to synthesize and secrete androgens. Androgens are male hormones, specifically testosterone. Now what is the role of FSH? We'll also discuss this. Okay, so these androgens are now being produced. These androgens are known as the male hormone. Example of male hormone is testosterone. Okay, so androgen, particularly testosterone, play a crucial role in regulating spermatogenesis, means sperm production. Clear? They also stimulate Sertoli cells to produce inhibin, which helps regulate the process of inhibiting the release of FSH and LH from the anterior pituitary. So this is to regulate the spermatogenesis. So usually these androgens, such as testosterone, this will initiate the spermatogenesis. But they can also stimulate the Sertoli cells to produce inhibin hormone, which will inhibit the release of FSH and LH from the pituitary gland. So it will stop the spermatogenesis also. When enough sperms are produced, then what does these androgens do? They will stimulate Sertoli cells to produce inhibin hormone. That will stop the secretion of FSH and LH. So they will stop spermatogenesis. Okay. But initially they will promote spermatogenesis. Then follicle stimulating hormone. These also acts on the Sertoli cells. And they stimulate the Sertoli cells to release some factors which aid in the process of spermiogenesis. Okay, not spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis. And what was spermiogenesis? Transformation of spermatids into the spermatozoa. So these are the 4 hormones that you should know, and these 4 hormones are involved in the spermatogenesis. Now next question, define spermiogenesis and the spermiation. So let's have a look at the answer now. Spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? Is the phenomena of the transformation of non-motile spermatids into mature and motile spermatozoa. Okay, this is spermiogenesis. So follicle stimulating hormone, this triggers the Sertoli cells to release some factors that promotes spermiogenesis. The next one is spermiation. So when the mature sperms they are formed, or when the spermatozoa are formed, the head of the spermatozoa, the head of the sperm, it gets embedded into the Sertoli cells, and they obtain nutrition from the Sertoli cells. Okay, and then what happens? Then the sperm head which was inserted in the Sertoli cells, these sperms are released from the Sertoli cells and they enter into the lumen of the seminiferous tubules. This is known as permeation, or simply you can say the release of the mature sperms from the seminiferous tubules. This is known as the spermiation. Okay, so sperms are formed in the seminiferous tubules and then release of these sperms from the seminiferous tubule. This is spermiation. Now next one, you have to draw a label diagram of the sperm. So here you can see this is the well labeled diagram of the sperm. Alright. So first of all, you can see here what are the major parts of the sperm. It consists of a head, okay, neck, middle piece and the tail. So there are 4 components. Let's start with the head now. So within the head, nucleus is present, and nucleus consists of the genetic material. Then on the anterior part of the head, means on the upper part of the upper side of the head, acrosome is present. This acrosome consists of enzymes such as hyaluronidase and acrosin, which helps to break down the walls of the ovum, and it helps the sperm to penetrate the ovum, or you can say it helps in the fertilization by the sperm of the ovum. Okay. Then this plasma membrane surrounds the entire sperm. Then after head, there is a neck. Below neck, there is a middle piece. Now what is special about this middle piece? This middle piece contains numerous mitochondria. And mitochondria is it is a powerhouse of the cell. It generates energy in the form of ATP. Okay. Then this is a tail. This tail helps in it provides motility to the sperms. This helps the sperm to swim. And for swimming, energy is required. And this energy is supplied by the mitochondria, which are present in the middle piece. Okay, so when you are drawing the label diagram of the sperms, you should label all these components. You should mention about the head, neck, middle piece and the tail. You should mention about the acrosome also. Then you should label plasma membrane also. You should write that the middle piece contains several mitochondria, and mitochondria is the energy source for the swimming. This is clear. Now sperms, they can swim. So they are motile, but egg is non-motile. Okay, so what happens now? You should know about the passage of the sperm also, how the sperm travels and how it reaches the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. So sperms, they are released in the vagina during the insemination. What is insemination? Release of the sperms into the female genital tract. Okay, release of the sperms into the vagina. Then sperms, they travel through the cervix. then they reach the uterus. Then from the uterus is connected to the fallopian tube. So they will travel through the uterus and they will finally reach the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. And if the egg is already present there, then the fertilization of the, or you can say then the fertilization will occur, or the fusion of the male and the female gamete will occur. And only one sperm is able to fertilize a single egg. Sometimes two eggs are also released. Two ovum are released. Usually one egg is released per menstrual cycle or per month. But sometimes two eggs are also released. So if there are two eggs, then sperm can fertilize these two eggs. So in this case, two fetus will develop. Two embryo will develop. Okay, so the female will bear two child here in this case. Now, sometime what happens, the zygote is formed and this zygote divides. So again, the female will bear twins here. So these will be twins here, which are formed from a single zygote. Because the zygote has divided now. Alright. So this is clear. This was about the structure of the sperm. Now next question, what are the major components of the seminal plasma? So let's have a look at the answer for these questions. Okay, so first of all, you should know what is seminal plasma. So in the male reproductive system, it consists of accessory glands also. So what are the name of these accessory glands? So there is a pair of seminal vesicles, then there is a prostate gland, and then there is a pair of bulbourethral glands. Bulbourethral glands are also known as the Cowper's gland. Okay, so secretions of these three glands, this is known as the seminal plasma. Okay, if you talk about the individual role of these accessory glands, so the seminal vesicles, so secretion of seminal vesicles, they consist of fructose and prostaglandins. Fructose is the source of energy for the sperm. It provides nourishment to the sperm. Then about prostate gland secretes the milky fluid, which is a major component of the semen. And this bulbourethral gland helps in the lubrication of the penis and also helps in the neutralization of the acidity. Okay, it helps in the neutralization of the acidity which is caused, or acidification which is caused due to urination. And this neutralization is very important for maintaining the viability of the sperms, because the sperms, they travel to the urethra only. Okay, so in males there is a common urogenital tract. The urine is also released, okay, from the same opening, and semen is also released from the same opening. Okay, so what are the components of seminal plasma now? Seminal plasma, which is the major component of the semen. So it consists of fructose, which is a sugar. It is an energy source for the sperm. Then citric acid is present. Enzymes are present. Prostaglandins are present. Fibrinogen is present. Then some proteins are present, and vitamin C is also present. So these are the major component of seminal plasma. Okay, you can also write these are the components of semen also, because seminal plasma, this is the major component of the semen as well. All right. So this was the end of this session. I hope this session was quite knowledgeable for you. So we have completed some of the questions here, and rest of the questions we will complete in the next session. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Okay, I hope this session was quite knowledgeable for you. We'll meet you in the next session. Thank you very much.